Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been a while since I posted. September of 2022, I believe, was the last video that went up. At that point in my life, I needed to find a good stopping point for the Jaguar project. I was getting ready to start a new job, move into a new place. And so from October through February of this year, 2023, I really didn't have any time between moving and starting a new job and getting lots of travel for the new job, getting everything going and getting that settled down. I'd take a break from working on the cars for a little while. But good news is I actually ended up doing these car stuff and these videos, and I really enjoy doing that on my off time. So what I ended up doing, if I'm going to move, I might as well move into a place that I can do the things that I would like to do. So I actually ended up buying a smaller house with a larger garage. So started working again a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago. I just started working again up on the Jaguar. We got the front suspension done. Still have a lot to do. Other crazy things like parts delay on the transmission rebuild. I got a 4L60E currently tore apart. It's been sitting apart now for 2 months waiting on parts. So, but I'm not going to do a video on that. If you want to watch somebody rebuild a 4L60E, there's hundreds of them. Just Google it. No one wants to watch another one who first timer on a 4L60E. Go watch the videos of the guys that have been doing it 100 times and they get paid to do it. So I'm not going to do a video on that. But as soon as those parts come in, I'll put it back together and slap it on the engine. We'll finally get the engine and the transmission back in the car. Now the front suspension's done, we can put the engine back in once the parts come in for the transmission. Next stage of the project right now, I think, is going to be the rear suspension. So I'm going to be pulling that out here this month, and hopefully can get back into working on this project. We'll figure out where we are by the end of July. Try to get back on some kind of a schedule once parts come in for the transmission, because I don't want my schedule to get buggered up again by something I can't control, like parts delays. So I may end up actually purchasing a different brand rebuild kit for the 4L60E, and we'll see. But without further ado, here's some updates to the independent front suspension rebuild. All right, so here's the front suspension I rebuilt. Nothing fancy, not trying to make a 100-point car. A couple of annoying things is the brake sensor, ABS sensor is just really old. I'm gonna need a replacement on that. I'll worry about that later. I'm gonna get the car up and running first. New springs here, no longer rusty and nasty, so that's good. I'll put a part number description and where the website I got it from in the subscription and description. EBC brakes, they seem to be pretty good from my understanding, and got those installed. Again, I'll put part numbers in the descriptions. I also have new shocks. The old shocks were these Bilstein things that somebody put on there at one point in time. They no longer go back out. They only collapse, and that's it. So they would need to be replaced. Otherwise, just a general cleanup. The actual subframe piece was really nasty, really rusty, really gross. So I had to take that down and scrub that whole thing off, grind it off as best I could, and threw a coat of paint on there. So hopefully that works out pretty well. For the most part, she's ready to go back in outside of new shocks, which are here. They're just not on. I'm going to put those on while I'm installing the suspension. The other thing that we're going to be doing here is, slide this out of the way. We are going to be installing an aftermarket sway bar. There we go. Ha. So this part is an ADCO part, and again, I'll put the link in or a subscription. I'll put where I got it from, the part number. This sway bar here is roughly 3 millimeters wider, just about 3 millimeters wider. The only annoying thing is the sway bar mounting bracket it comes with will not work. So we've got to figure something out for that. It does come with new sway bar end links, which if you put them together, they're the extra material from the mounting brackets here, the bushings, adds to the actual physical length here. So they're roughly the same length between the center points of the mounting bushings when you compare the two. And other than trying to figure out what I'm doing with that, which we will hopefully show here in a minute on the same video, that's what we're going to do. Otherwise, front suspension is ready to go back in for the most part. Again, nothing fancy, just clean it up, new brakes, lube up your bearings, all the typical stuff. Didn't really show a whole lot of that because it's literally just turning wrenches. The most annoying part about doing these front suspensions is getting these springs in, okay? It is not easy. There's a technique to it that involves some guides. These are the guides I used to guide on the mounting plate that's right here for the spring. Okay, so there's a little bit of technique to it. There's plenty of videos that describe how to do it, so I'm not going to cover it. But it's ready to go back together. It's ready to go back into the car, and we're making progress. So this is the modified bracket that came with the ADCO kit. Keep in mind that the original brackets are offset from center. That's to help with aligning the brackets when they get installed on the car. And they are also mirrored to each other. So when you do the new brackets, you need to copy that, replicate the offset, and also make them mirrored to each other. So the other one, this one matches this one, and the other one matches this one here. And you can't just flip them around, because if you flip them around, they're mirrored, okay? So the other issue that we have is the new bracket is quite a bit thicker than the old bracket. So it's interfering with the frame right here. So you have to notch the new ones to make fit. So not a fan of how they turned out, but they'll work for the time being, and we'll get the car up and running. Swapping out these brackets would be easy enough to do down the road, and we'll figure that out later. This is the subframe reinstalled back into the vehicle. Looking much better than it used to. No more rust everywhere, so that's good news. So here's the wheel well with the subframe installed. Looking much better than previously. No more rust and all that. Still got to hook the brakes up and do some wiring and whatnot, but looking a whole lot better. It's not rusty and gross and nasty anymore. So just for comparison, this is the old shock and the old spring that came out of it. So you can envision the whole subframe and the 8 arms covered in rust like this. And yeah, I would say success. Well, that's it for today, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.